Happy birthday, Booby. Hey, dolls and my YouTube family. I just wanted to do a kind of a quick video with Papi and his girlfriend. This is Papi's girlfriend. Well, I don't even know if it's a girl dog, but look what he's done to her ear. Which this wasn't meant for Papi. Say your girlfriend? You want your girlfriend? This wasn't meant for Papi to play with, but, you know, it's alright. It's an original Rainbow Bright dog that I had. Oh, yep, there he goes. Birthday dog. But yeah, that's my whole point of filming this little video here. It is Papi's 4th birthday today. Papi was born on February 2nd. I got him 4 years ago. Obviously, I didn't get him on his birthday because he would have been too little. But I got Papi when he was about 6 weeks old. So, the breeder lied and told me that Papi was 8 weeks old. Yeah. So, when I took him in, obviously, even before I took him to the vet, actually, maybe I should tell you guys Papi's story, a quick version of it. Because I was going to sit down and tell you guys his story, but I decided I wanted a Chihuahua. I've always loved the breed. It's just, as I was growing up, I always loved the breed and the Taco Bell dog, and I just thought they're so cute, and I just always wanted one since I was little. So, obviously, I was living on my own. I had my own house, and I thought, you know, I'm going to save up for a dog, because if you guys have Chihuahuas, you know that they are not cheap to purchase, usually. So, and if they are cheap, make sure you are, you know, you check out the breeder, because they normally, you know, Papi wasn't too expensive, but he was not cheap, in my eyes, at all. So, I was looking on Kijiji, which is an eBay classified site, and they have a site where you can find animals and pets, and I came across this picture, and if I looked on there right now, I probably could find it, because the lady still uses Papi's picture. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that, but she does. And I found this picture, and I just thought, that is the cutest little Chihuahua I've ever seen in my life. And he was, I mean, it was like tiny. You couldn't even, he almost looked like a hamster, you know, in the picture. That's how little he was. Is that your girlfriend? Did you name her, Boobs? Well, you're kind of abusive. Actually, you're very abusive, Booby. That's not nice. I think I taught you better than that. Poor little dog. That's not nice to be so mean. Why you gotta be so rough, huh? You be nice, nice. See, you be nice. No, I'm gonna show you. You be nice, nice, nice to her. Nice. Let's see kisses. Nice. Oh, the little Booby do. You be nice. You pet nice. He does not like me having her. You pet nice. Okay, let's see if you can do it. Be nice. Not, well. Okay. Oh my god, I'm sorry. Every time I see that, it's hilarious to me. Poor baby. He's never had a real girlfriend. Okay, so anyways, like I said, I seen Papi's picture, and I'm not gonna make you guys watch him hump, obviously. Cuckoo dog. What a birthday. Papi had, chicken soup for his birthday tonight. Well, I shared my chicken soup with him. I didn't actually give him a bowl of chicken soup. I just gave him some vegetables and chicken out of it, because Papi eats chicken. That's what he eats. Boiled chicken and vegetables and rice, so. Anyways, yeah, so I seen the picture of Papi, and I called her and asked her if he was still available. She said he was the only male left and that he was available. And because he was the only male left, she would give me like $50 off. And she was actually asking $600, I believe, for him. And he came with papers and all that stuff. So, which I guess is cheap compared to some prices, because I've seen certain Chihuahuas that go for, you know, $1,200, $1,300, $1,000, you know. But she was a Chihuahua breeder. I believe she breeds other dogs too, I'm not sure. So, I told her I wanted them and asked her, you know, where she was located. It said Sterling Heights, and Sterling Heights is where I grew up. Well, one of the cities I grew up, and it's not far. You know, it wasn't far from where I was staying. So I thought that's great. And she said, well, I actually don't live in Sterling Heights. My husband works down there. So normally we will meet the people, you know, who want to buy our puppies, you know, in between, or, you know, this and that. She lived out in Chase, Michigan, which is really far. I never had even heard of Chase, Michigan, and I'm born and raised in Michigan. I've lived here my whole life. So she said that her husband wasn't working that week, and that unfortunately he couldn't drive down to Sterling Heights, so I would have to meet her in between Chase and where I was from. I was actually living in Warren, which is borderline Detroit at the time. So I drove about 4.5 hours to get Papi, and when we, you know, met her husband at, you know, a store, I think it was Myers. We met him in the parking lot, and I just looked in the cage, and I seen this little fluffy guy. He was so little, just crying, and I thought, I just fell in love with him right at that moment. I fell in love with him. So, the guy had told me that for being as young as he was, that he definitely had a personality, and boy was he right, because Papi, you guys know, you've seen it, he definitely has his own personality. Booby, what you doing? That's not nice. I'm gonna get it. That's actually a dog I bought him, on the way home from picking him up. It was a TY Beanie Baby dog thing, and Papi has tore it. Don't worry, I've taken all the bags of beanies and threw them out. But yeah, he's tore it up like cuckoo. I mean, like crazy. I was gonna say, like crazy. Like the cuckoo crazy Papi is. You know what I mean. Anyways, so yeah. He handed me a can of cat food. Wet cat food. And said, if he has a problem eating, because he's going to be nervous, they can't resist the smell of this, he'll eat this. And I thought that was weird, because, number one, dogs aren't supposed to eat cat food because it's not good for them, and number two, it was weird. So I said, okay. Right then and there, I knew I need to take this dog to the vet and make sure everything's okay. If he's been eating cat food, this might not be a good thing. So, you know, I bought him, you know, got the papers, everything, and then left. I went to Petco first thing and got everything Papi needed, and while I was in Petco, luckily I ran into a worker there that actually was kind of like a expert in Chihuahuas, because he had owned Chihuahuas his whole life, and you know, so I talked to him. He walked up to me and asked, because he could tell he was a Chihuahua, and asked me when I got him, and I said, I just got him a couple hours ago, you know, I'm here to get him food. And he said, you know, I said, could you direct me to like the holistic food, and, you know, I want to get him something that's good for him. And he said, honey, he can't eat dry food, he doesn't even have his teeth yet. He said, this dog is not 8 weeks old. And he was looking at his mouth, and he said he's about 6. He's 6 weeks old. So basically, Papi was weaned off of his mom too soon, and that's why they gave me the cat food, so he would eat, because he was just too little. So at that point, I was really upset, and I made a vet appointment that day. Well, they didn't see me that day, but, you know, so I could get him in as soon as possible to have him checked out. And, you know, I bought him wet puppy food, so he was able to, you know, eat. Obviously, I wasn't going to give him cat food. So, and that's the thing, we don't know how long he had been eating the cat food, if he did eat it or not. I'm assuming since they knew that he would eat it, he ate it. So my take on it all was, okay, they were probably more about making money than anything, because, you know, I didn't think it was right. It just didn't sound right to me. And she told me a bunch of stuff that Papi was going to do, and he never did it. You know, she was saying she was an expert as well in Chihuahuas, and half the stuff she said that Papi was going to do, he never did. And, which I'm thankful, but Papi's not one of those Chihuahuas who shakes. I know a lot of Chihuahua shakes. He has before, and he will if he's nervous or scared or even too cold, but he doesn't shake all the time. Papi doesn't do the Chihuahua, like the army crawl, how Chihuahuas will get on the ground and crawl. He doesn't do that. There's certain things he just never did. And, anyways, so I took him into the vet, come to find out that he was only about, at that moment, because I think it was a week later, maybe like 4 or 5 days, I took him to the vet and found out that he was indeed too young to be weaned off his mom, but he was healthy. The only thing that was wrong with Papi was he had a yeast infection in his left ear that we had to give him medicine for, and he had to be free-fed, which meant to that I would put down a can of puppy food. If it was a big can, I would only put down half, and I would just let him eat as much as he possibly could to make him gain his weight and so he could grow healthy and strong, because like I said, he was weaned off his mom too young. So he's crazy, you guys.
What you doing, boobs? What you doing?
So then I immediately decided that because of where I lived, I was going to pee-pee pad train him. That's why you guys always see pee-pee pads in my room. Papi does go potty outside, but at night, and even if he tends to have an accident, I'd rather him have it on the pee-pee pad than on the carpet or anywhere else in the house. So Papi is potty trained outside and in. But, when he was real little, I just potty trained him on the pads, and then I slowly moved the pads towards the door. You know what I mean? So anyways, Papi, he ended up being okay. The yeast infection went away. He was a healthy little guy. He did have a couple episodes when he was younger to where it was almost like he was, they call it hypoglycemic, to where he kind of was acting a little drunk and he'd fall over. And, so that was kind of freaking me out. And I'm like, why is he having these episodes? And they were, the vet just told me that he had low blood sugar. That's what it was, that he had low blood sugar. And they gave me this special kind of syrup to give him every time he had one of these fits, or, in the morning. I forgot what it was called, but it was a miracle. It worked. But come to find out, that's not really what was wrong with Papi. He didn't have low blood sugar. And I'll explain in a minute. So, because I'm trying to do this quick, I don't want this to be longer than 20 minutes. I just wanted to tell you guys his story real quick. So, everything seemed good with him. He was alright. Very playful. He just was a happy puppy. I did have to call a trainer. One time I was going to end up getting a trainer because Papi was getting a little vicious. He was just snipping at people. And I didn't want a dog like that. I didn't want a dog that would bite people. As I started to read more about the breed Chihuahua, because I bought a bunch of Chihuahua books, and I would go online and read about them, and my aunt had Chihuahuas. I knew quite a bit about them, but as I started to read more about them, I realized that their personalities were very different than any other dogs. Oh, there's my booby. I'm going to sit down here with him. Come here. Than any other dogs. And they can be quite possessive, and they can be a little snippy at times. What? Give me that. Papi growls and stuff when he's playing, but he's being playful. But he can be snippy. He won't let anybody but me pick him up. His characteristic traits as he's gotten older, I pretty much, he's pretty set in his ways. But anyways, where did I leave off? Oh, yeah. So he was doing pretty good. Well, when Papi was, he kept having these little fits, I would give him this syrup. I wish I could remember what it was called. You can get it at the vet. It comes in a tube. And if your dog does have low blood sugar, it works miracles, let me tell you. But I can't remember what it was called. Anyways, Papi was probably about 6 months to almost a year. So I would say he was probably about 10, 11 months. And we were on my bed. He was playing. He was chasing his tail. And he was just going so fast. And I was a very paranoid puppy owner. I always made sure that the floors were clean. I always watched what Papi ate. Anything he ate was organic and holistic, and I boil his chicken once I realized that that's what he wanted to eat, because he just did not like dog food. He never did. The wet food a little bit, but he was never fond of it. So anyways, I just was very careful with him. I guess almost too careful and almost too protective, because Papi doesn't jump up and down on furniture, whereas other little dogs do that I know. That's because I was always scared of him breaking his, his legs right here, like the joints, because their legs are so tiny. And I just never let him jump. It just always made me nervous, and now I feel bad because I see him wanting to. But that was just to keep him from hurting himself. I know that sounds crazy, but it does happen, and those surgeries are a lot of money. And I just, more than anything, it's not about the money. It was about him hurting himself. Well, he was chasing his tail, and he ended up flying off my bed, and when he fell off my bed, he hit his head pretty hard. Hard enough to where I seen him, like, kind of, he passed out. So I started flipping out. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I called my dad telling him that I needed to take Papi, because I don't drive, I have a paranoia of driving, that I needed to take Papi to the emergency vet because he flew off my bed and he was acting funny. I was scared, My dad said, wait till the morning. If everything's still not right, we'll take him. I called my best friend Jessie, told her I was scared, he wasn't acting right, I needed her. She came over, she took one look at him and said, he is acting a little weird, but I think he's going to be okay, So, I mean, he was scared. He fell. It wasn't that high of a fall. I had just a full bed at the time, and the full bed was not even on a frame. It was on it was on a frame at the time, but the frame was probably only about, it wasn't that far off the ground. It wasn't about how far he fell. It was about how hard he hit his head is what scared me. So, the next day, he was fine. I watched him all night, because once he actually fell asleep, I didn't want him to have, like, a concussion or anything. And he ended up being okay. But then, I would say about 6 to 7 months later, Papi started having these really weird fits to where he would get really sick and he would go run under the bed or under the couch and he'd hide. If you tried to touch him, he'd snip at you. If, anything. He was just very scared. Or he would hide with me, next to me. He didn't want anybody else, which isn't unusual because Papi don't let anybody else pick him up. He'll let my best friend pick him up. Not always, but usually. But he just doesn't let other people pick him up. I'm the only one that can. It's just how he is, But he was acting funny. He would have diarrhea fits to where, like, I'm talking to where it was piles of it. And it was a different color. It was weird. I was like, what is going on? So I was putting my Christmas tree up, and this is when I had already moved out of my old house, and I lived in a house with roommates, and Papi started having a fit, but it was the worst I had seen yet, and I just was flipping out like there's something not right. So I took him to the emergency vet at like 3, 4 in the morning, and she told me, she looked at Papi, she had to muzzle him, because like I said, if you don't know Papi or he don't know you, he's not letting you touch him. So she had to muzzle him, and here's my little dog in this muzzle that looked like Silence of the Lambs, and I was just crying, I was bawling. She said, it sounds like he has a liver shunt, and what a liver shunt is, if you guys don't know, a liver shunt is when the main artery in your liver is kind of, instead of going through the liver, it grew on the outside, so the liver wasn't working properly. Okay, from what I remember, I'm not looking this up or anything, so excuse me if I'm wrong, but that's pretty much his liver was, they thought it wasn't working properly, and that's why he was going to the bathroom the way he was, and that's why he was getting sick, and he didn't want to eat, and all that stuff, okay? So, no, he did eat and drink. So most dogs, when they're sick, they don't want to, but Papi did eat and drink throughout pretty much the whole, the fits that he was having. So she told me that to fix it, the surgery was like $1,500 to $2,000, and they'd have to run blood tests to make sure that wasn't what it was first. And, so I was freaking out. I was just like, what am I going to do? Papi, this is the love of my life. This is my dog. I'm scared. She said there's other ways to manage liver shunts. If you don't want him to have surgery, you just have to change his diet, which pretty much Papi lived off of chicken. And I guess chicken, if your liver's not working properly, she said it wasn't the greatest thing for him to eat. I forgot exactly what she said he was going to have to eat. But anyways, I was just freaking out, you know, and there was medicine he was going to have to take, you know, on a daily basis. So my mom, you know, of course told me, because I went over there, it was around Christmas time, she said, don't freak out yet, let's wait until we have the tests done, and then once the tests are done, then you can, you know, we'll go from there. But you know what, guys, I am going to cut to part 2, because I wanted to make this short, but I want to tell you guys the whole story. It's Papi's birthday, so I thought it's only right to tell you that, you know, about him. So I'll be right back, bye.
Say bye, boobs. Oh, you're so cute.